Welcome to Zybez 20, episode 33. In today's episode, we'll be covering Bounty Hunter in Old School RS, the new Elf City for RS3, and a recent mix of the power to the players with the pulls in Old School RS, and there's been more pulls in RS3. Today, we have a special guest joining us. I will let him introduce himself now.
Hi, my name is Murdoch. I am a longtime player of Escape for about 13 years now, and I am now an OSRS active player.
All right, so that's Murdoch, and along with him, we have myself and two other team members, so I'll let the other two introduce themselves.
All right, I'm Zero. I've also been playing this game for 13 years. I remember Magic skill being split, but yeah, I'll be talking about EOC and
Yeah, I'm David. I go by Brainiac Outcast. I've been playing since early 2007. I'll talk a bit about both.
My name's Jim, and I've been playing since early 2007 also. I think I made my account in like April. I'll be talking about both games. So we'll jump right in to the Elf City, the name that nobody can pronounce, Prifddinas, something like that, some other words that we can't really say on the podcast.
Finally, after 10 years, we've finally got the release of the Elf City. They have put in a great amount of detail into the music, the graphics. There's a ton of stuff to do, different training methods, a lot of AFK stuff, which has been welcomed and hated by the community. A ton of stuff to do, and I am completely excited about using that as my main hub.
Did the quest come out with the Plague's End, or was that before?
Plague's End and the new city came out on the same day.
All right, yeah, so you have to do a new quest. It's high-level requirements, like level 75, yeah. The quest is a good quest. I got told it was a good quest, and I was like, I'm going to be skeptical, but no, it was pretty good. You see a lot of the puzzles from, like, the Temple of Light, but they're kind of easier. So that makes a return if you like those. That's my favorite quest line, so I like those. In this new city, like Zero said, there's the AFK methods. Like, there's a new mining method. There's a new Slayer monsters, like some elves that you can kill that drop amazing stuff. There's a new Grand Exchange. There's portals that you can go just about anywhere on RuneScape with. You go to your house, you go to ports. It's amazing. Overall, I think it's an awesome update.
Also including this is a whole slew of completion escape requirements, which I'm actually actively working on right now, including Rush of Blood, the new Slayer D&D. It's weekly. Basically, you get to complete waves of Slayer monsters within a 10-minute time limit. The more waves that you complete, the better rewards you get at the end, including Slayer VIP tickets, and there's an item that increases unique drops from certain Slayer monsters like Abyssal Demons or Tormented Demons and Dark Beasts and such.
What is a Slayer VIP ticket, and when did Tormented Demons get to be a Slayer task?
Those actually have been in the game for a while now. The VIP tickets came out with the Cabbage Face Punch Bonanza minigame a few months back, but now they're also acquirable through this. And Tormented Demons were added to the Slayer list a few updates ago. It was with the Slayer monster counter that came out before the boss Slayer. You can actually buy from Cordell or the new Elf Slayer guy, Ovario, or
whatever his name is.
Yeah.
Elf names
there you go,
best, dude. Just so easy to pronounce.
I love all the elf names. It's just I can't pronounce them, and but yeah, you can toggle them for like 50 Slayer points. You can toggle Tormented Demons and Glaycores now.
That's awesome.
I'm mainly an OSRS player, so I know going back to the Elf City, we know that Morning's End was always revered as like the highest, most difficult quest back in the day, back in 07. And when they had the Elf City there, it was a giant teaser for like 10 years. And it was going to be, you're going to complete everything. You're going to start wrapping up this whole big conspiracy. And it almost felt a bit like Lost, the TV show, where they had this huge idea at first. And then as things went on, they were like, nah, let's explore these other ideas. We'll come back to it. It's a big teaser. They know it's there, but we'll explore the polar bear and the numbers and blah, blah, blah. And they went elsewhere with their quest ideas. And it took this long to get back to it. So it sounds like they're really going in for the reward aspect of it. But how does the hype live up? Does it still feel like you're completing this epic finisher to one of the most memorable quest chains in Escape history? Does it feel like that?
Kind of. Like, difficulty-wise, no. Like, storyline, yeah. Length, no.
No, length, no? No, it's not like a While Gothic Sleeps or Ritual of the Maharat sort of feel?
I think I did the quest like an hour and a half, and I could have done it faster if I would have read the quest guide properly.
I would have appreciated something like Ritual of the Maharat style or While Gothic Sleeps. I didn't do World's Wakes, but out of those two, I really enjoyed them with really grand mastery. And I feel like with the opening of the Elf City, something that grand after that decade of a hype would have been just fantastic. And I guess it would have sort of taken away a bit from the people from the launch and all the stuff in there. But it would have been awesome to have that finisher to one of the most memorable quest chains in history.
I can agree with you on that. I think what they did end up doing, though, is dialing it back just so more people are able to access the city.
Exactly.
I mean, and that's fair, because why put all development time, your resources into making this excellent area of RuneScape, and only like 4 or 5 people can get in there?
Yeah, it's not the same as TDs where it's like one boss sort of, or one monster, big reward type.
Yeah, because it's an entire city. Like
it's an unlockable city. It's much cooler than Berg de Rot or Leata or these other places. Like, yeah,
there's a lot more to do.
Quite a lot more to do. It almost feels like this is intended to consolidate everything. For me, when I first looked through the list of things, it felt like it would take away from a bit of the kind of adventuring of the game. Like, this is over here, that's over here. I hate to put it this way, but it gives a bit of a private server feel to it with how consolidated it is, and with portals to literally all the bosses and all.
It went easy mode.
Does it almost feel a bit like, I don't know if I'm allowed to say this, but does it feel a bit like World of Warcraft in the sense that they have these big hubs and portals everywhere, and that's it?
I was actually just about to say that. And you know what? That's fine. I don't mind having a hub city.
Mm-hmm.
I've experienced it in other games, not just World of Warcraft.
Useful?
Yeah, they're very useful, and it's high-level content. It's not like, a level 1 can just go, I'm going to go to the Elf City, and that's going to be where I go everywhere. I mean, you have to have 10 level 75 skills. You have to have a quest chain. You have to have,
Yeah, you have to do the corners and quest and temple.
Yeah, by no means is it going to replace Varrock or anything like that, but it's sort of a nice alternative to the higher tier players, new Varrock, or a new place to hang out. I don't know what RS3 really does for hangout spots, but you know what I mean? It's Varrock, and OSRS is a big one.
Yeah.
Or Edge, places like that. So yeah, I like that aspect. I really do. And I like there being sort of a hub in the west-hand side, or Western Hemisphere, and you have a hub in the Eastern Hemisphere. That is kind of cool. I do think that the members side, if you know what I mean, the line that divided the original members side content, I do think the members side content does deserve a big hub, something that's unifying, that isn't Arty or Camu, which people do go to, but they're not consolidated and interesting enough to really grip a large amount of the member base the same way the Elf City is.
Yeah, they're still divided up on their importance, I think. Because Cami, you have a fishing spot pretty much, and that's about it in the bank. And then the other cities have their own special little things.
This comes with everything, yeah. Yep. So it's once you make it there, it's oh yeah.
I wouldn't say everything, but it does have the majority of everything.
All right, 99.9% of stuff. All right.
Yeah.
You got me.
It doesn't have fishing spots. It doesn't have.
Well, it has mining, it has thieving, it has combat, it has Slayer.
Yeah. About this.
So overall, it was a good update, right?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, definitely. And I can't wait for Batch 2. This is just the first half, and it's an amazing thing. So
we'll save details about Batch 2 for our next episode that we will have.
Brief question about that. Now that they have it in RS3, if OSRS ever wanted to get it, do you think we would have to do a mirror copy? If we were going to do...
they get the second half. RuneScape 3 has the first half. That would be fair. Totally.
Nice. I like that. That would be...
that would be very interesting.
It would be. It would be the first time you see a real sort of merging of the two instead of this sort of just throwback that we have at the moment. That'd be... I like that.
Overall, it's a good update. We will talk about the second batch, the next episode. Bounty Hunter has recently came out in Old School RS. Pretty game-changing for how PKing works. Some new rewards, new methods to kill people.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. What else is there, Murdoch? You've used it a lot.
This is my thing. I love BH. So I first started PKing back in East Drags and Exile and Brutality and that sort of stuff. And when the WoW got removed, everyone was just absolutely losing it, and they came out with BH Crater, and that was the big revival. Everyone loved BH. People really liked BH. It was
well,
awesome.
They were also missing PKing for how long?
Years. We had to settle with clan wars and things like that, and it was by no means suitable at all. So when BH came out, it was a huge, big game changer, and it's kind of a throwback for people who were PKing around 2007, around that time. We're used to that. But they didn't want to add certain aspects in that had failed before. The controversial God Sword luring, for instance, in BH Crater. You could make lots of money if you were one of these somewhat malicious individuals who abused the system to give people false timers, to take their AGSs. They really wanted to avoid that. So that was one thing they wanted to get rid of, which is why I think the target teleport wasn't implemented on launch. It's because they wanted to hammer out some issues and see how the players reacted before throwing that in, because it's easier to omit something than it is to take it away. So I think there was an aspect there where they wanted to reduce learning. We learned that from Crater. We also learned from Crater that giving AGSers spec back every time they go in and out is a recipe for disaster. And they addressed that issue in this version of BH by, I believe they fixed the Clan Wars thing where
the Clan Wars portal, when you go in and out, you do not get special attack back, but you get your HP and prayer back still.
Yeah, so it's actually very useful. I like the idea you can drop your skull that way. It's very nice. You don't have to ruin your KD in the wilderness, because some people get very touchy about that. And I like little mechanics like that. It's good. But the spec getting back was a little bit too overpowered, and I'm rather happy. When it first happened to me and I wanted my spec back, I was like, what is this?
You
and
just
then I
duel
thought
somebody, that's how you get it back?
Yeah, and then I thought about it and I was like, nah, this is good. This means someone's going to be AGS rushing me. So they took away some of those aspects. They wanted to get rid of rushing. They wanted to get rid of this luring for high amounts of commodities. And then the last thing they really wanted to get rid of didn't really come from Crater so much, but it came from EP Worlds. And that was the famous 76K. Anyone who was around for the 76K era knows.
Amazing.
It was amazing. It was crazy. It was just an adrenaline rush every hour or so. You're like, I got enough EP. Let's do this. DFS. Woo! And like people, would do this sort of stuff because it was easy money. And it was one of the biggest attractions, but also one of the biggest complaints about BH. And now we're stuck in the crossroads with this new version that they come out with, where they're trying to sit on the fence and trying to give people enough of that rewarding aspect of the 76K era that keeps people engaged within being in the wild and improving the activity of the wild, but at the same time not having it so it's farmable. So that's sort of the background there of what I think they were really trying to tackle. And those are three things I think are some of the biggest things that JGX attempted to curb with this new BH launch. Unfortunately, though, farming was possible on the first day, and people quickly hopped on this idea of, I'll give you 100K for a kill, and would upgrade their emblems to tier 10. I reluctantly admit that I did that because I looked at the cost of the dark bow paint, and it was like 400K tokens. And I was like, are you kidding me? You expect me to go get 8 of these like tier 1 tokens or risk this one emblem I just got? Risk that over and over just to get this paint? No. So I do admit that I gave some people 50K cash and I farmed myself a tier 10 emblem, like a lot of people did. And this isn't because people were out of their way to, I wasn't trying to make money. It was because there was a slight inflation to the price of certain goods. I understand inflating the price of goods that you can sell, like the rune, the mystic, and things like that. But I think that certain consumables and like cosmetic stuff shouldn't be at such a high price. I know they're trying to make it a high price so you can get it after you've done a certain amount of PKing and it's a reward, but it's not. Doesn't really feel like that. It doesn't do anything, so it shouldn't be so highly priced. So this is actually getting me onto some of my complaints about BH.
I have a question for Zero and David, though. Have you guys heard of like any of the BH stuff that you have any questions on? Because you guys don't play old school RS.
I do play a small amount. I have been following it.
Do you want me to explain how the mysterious emblem system works? One of my complaints, the mysterious emblem system only works on targets. Only works on your target. I have a couple issues with that I'll talk about in a bit, but it's this idea that you kill your target and there's a chance, not 100%, but there's a chance that your target will then drop an emblem. And this starts at level 1, and it starts at 50K. It makes its way up to 5 mil points, BH points. You can purchase items in the store for, I think like D-Mace or something like that is like 150K tokens.
Yeah.
So that's like 3 BH kills at, level 1. So you can't like farm it and make tons of cash off of the way 76K was. But it's this idea that you have to risk your current emblem to upgrade it when you kill your targets. That's the idea, is that you put the risk down and you get the reward. This is what JGX has been about, risk, reward. And this brings me on to some of the issues with BH. I'll first talk about the way the emblems work. I said before that they're basically 100% focused on targets. So BH Worlds, unfortunately, at the moment are pretty much 100% target focused, unless you're a rusher.
Or a lure.
Or a lure, or doing something like that. So if you're on a BH world, for the most part, rogue kills are like whatever. They're not really respected at all.
Yeah, if you ask anybody in that world, they're going to say, no, I have a target. So you just have to either rush them and make them run away, or they'll fight back.
Yeah, exactly.
It's kind of irritating.
100% target focused. So when you have something that's 100% target focused, and not only that, they don't even really reward the rogue kills, the kills you get off your target. Matter of fact, you only get emblem upgrades from your target, and I think that it would be important that they have the chance for you to upgrade emblems from rogue kills. I know there'll be an issue with people going in naked and blah, 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 but I do think maybe if that were the case, in the case of rogue
kills... All right, if there's an issue with that, they should just fix that for targets too, because I spent, 3 days ago, I got bored, so I just kept running back in the wild with no clothes and no armor on, no weapon, just let my target kill me over and over again.
Mm-hmm.
So, it still can be done.
Yeah, I mean, you can still abuse things to a certain aspect, but I think that rogues need to be rewarded just even somewhat.
Yeah.
You really, if you're on a
maybe a 10% chance instead of a 50% chance to get the totem or emblem.
Yeah, exactly. And I think that it's weird because why even have rogue kills in there? It's just normally PK, and no one even focuses on it. So that's one of my issues, is that rogues are not rewarded whatsoever, and there's no reward for doing anything apart from killing your target. And because everything is so target focused and people know that things are target focused, you have a lot of teams who are luring now. What they'll do is they'll sit up in the highest spot in the wild and they'll wait for a multi-spot or somewhere where they can lure people. And they'll just sit there, and because they know it's so target focused, and because the way the timers work and the timeout, the 30-minute timeout, do you know how long 30 minutes feels when you're trying to just PK your target? Because again, BH worlds are 100% target focused, and if you can't get a target for 30 minutes, it feels like forever.
5 minutes. When I was dying to those random people, my random targets, I had to wait 6 minutes between each target, and that was long enough. I felt like forever.
I was trying to get a target in edge, or if they're not in edge, they're lure. So I kept on getting these targets that were up in 50, 40 wild, and I was like, no, I'm not doing that. So I logged out 3 times, and I logged back in, 30-minute timer. And it wasn't like I was trying to abuse the system. I was trying to not get lured, and I was trying to play bounty hunter. But I was penalized for the fact that people were trying to lure me, and that 30, I just went for a jog. I put my account in the wild and went for a jog. So there's 2 things there I'd like to comment on the timers. I think there should be something to be said about the distance between your target. For instance, if your target is 40 levels away from you and they don't move and you don't move, or towards each other, then there should be something involved there where it doesn't take away one of those strikes from your 3 strikes before you get a timer. I also think that the timer should not be wilderness based. I think that if you get a 30-minute timer, that should be 30 minutes flat, and not 30 minutes in the wilderness. At the moment, you have to spend 30 minutes in the wilderness